In today's Leeds news, the fallout from the Brighton win, this weekend's Loan Watch, Premier League vote to drop sanctions for financial breaches, Wilfried Gnonto's future, and Bijol has enjoyed every second of his first season. Hey folks, welcome to Leeds View for Monday the 18th of May with your Leeds United news. Jer here, hope you've had a good weekend. Always made that little bit sweeter when Leeds United pick up 3 points and a bit of a snatch and grab yesterday. But we'll absolutely take it considering the season we've had this year. It's been a really good end to what has been a good season for Leeds United back in the Premier League. At one point yesterday, we were up to 13th before Newcastle went and battered a very poor West Ham United side who look like they are very much down into the Championship for next season. It could be in some serious trouble financially if that does happen. It's not over yet, but it does look, looking at their body language and what they played yesterday, bar one or two players, it does look like they're completely gone. Speaking of players that could be gone, or people that could be gone, Illan Meslier, really sad to see the images yesterday of him sitting on a football, taking in the surroundings of Elland Road as he will leave Leeds United on a free transfer. This summer hasn't ended the way that he would have wanted it to end, but we wish him nothing but luck and success in whatever he does in the future. Still a young lad, still got a lot of years ahead of him to have a very strong career. So, yeah. And Daniel Farke's comments as well after the game. Interesting that he commented on the fans being the best fans in the world and second to none. And they are working hard. And it promised that they're working hard to put the best team on the pitch as well. So maybe that's a signal that some conversations have happened. And Daniel Farke will still be at Leeds United next season. And Leeds will be investing in the summer. And we'll get into investments and what that looks like again in a couple of minutes' time. But we'll start off with the second last fallout segment of the season. It's amazing to think that we're at the end of the season already. It's absolutely flown by this year. But as I say, second last fallout segment of the season as Leeds United closed off their home campaign in the most perfect way. Leeds finished up at home with 9 wins in their 19 home games, only losing 5 times across the season at home, and finished with the 8th best home record in the league as it stands right now. Sebastian Bornau had an excellent performance yesterday and holds the record for Leeds for the most games started without losing. 9 games, 3 wins and 6 draws. Leeds have now only 5 defeats in the last 29 matches across all competitions. Only Man City with 5, Arsenal with 5, Bournemouth with 7, Man United with 7 and Aston Villa with 11 have suffered fewer Premier League defeats this season. Daniel Farke's side have only suffered 12 all year. Leeds' 8-game unbeaten run in the Premier League is the first time since they did it between May and November in 2001 under David O'Leary. Carl Darlow, another fantastic performance from him yesterday, made 7 saves against Brighton, the highest tally of any Leeds goalkeeper in a single league game since October 2022 when Illan Meslier made 9 saves against Liverpool. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is now just 1 goal off Luciano Becchio's debut season goal tally record of 15 after he scored his 14th goal of the season yesterday from only 1 shot on target. He's got 1 game left against a West Ham side that look absolutely defeated. You would imagine he can get something in that game to try and level that. That would be a fantastic achievement for him as well. Leeds have won 3 consecutive Premier League matches at Elland Road for the first time since 2001. And Leeds have beaten Brighton in the Premier League for the very first time at the 8th attempt. That record is now gone. We've finally beaten Brighton in the Premier League, so we can relax. Yeah, thanks to Johnny Cooper, LUFC Data and Andrew Stats Dalton for all of the statistics as per usual. Let's move on. Get into the second last loan watch of the season as well. And we'll start off with Larry Ramazani, who was on the bench for Valencia in their 4-3 away win at Sociedad, came on in the 74th minute. Isaac Schmidt started for Werder Bremen in their 2-0 home loss to Borussia Dortmund. He played 53 minutes for being subbed off. Max Fober missed the game because he was ill, and that will be their last game for Werder Bremen. Both players are expected to return to Leeds United now that their loans are over. Werder Bremen's season is complete. They've survived in the Bundesliga. Jack Harrison started on the bench for Fiorentina in their 2-0 away win against Juventus. And he came off the bench very early on, the 32nd minute, and by all accounts had a pretty decent game as well. Mateo Joseph, not in action, but his Mallorca side that he's been with all season are in real trouble. They've got 1 game left and they currently sit in the relegation zone. So if he wants to go back there next season once he gets over his ACL, they need to stay in La Liga. And it looks right now they have to win their final game of the season and hope that results go their way above them. There's a lot of teams in that block. So yeah, interesting one. We'll give you updates on the last games of the season, 1 or 2 players next weekend. Let's move on. I don't know if this is a surprising story or not a surprising story, but it came out over the weekend and I was genuinely surprised. The Premier League is proposing allowing clubs to negotiate settlements over financial breaches instead of any sporting sanctions. Now, the obvious result of this will be certain clubs will absolutely blow the shackles of financial fair play out of the water. Those who have oil state money behind them, the likes of Newcastle United and Manchester City, can now just spend freely and pay a fine instead. And there are several clubs that have struggled within the financial fair play guidelines over the last couple of years that this could actually benefit. Those who want to pay a fine can just pay a fine. But Sky News were the ones that broke this story over the course of the weekend, and a statement from Sky Sports as follows. Premier League is proposing to allow clubs to negotiate settlements over alleged breaches of its financial rules rather than seeing their cases automatically referred to an independent commission. Sky News has learned that top flight clubs will be asked to vote at the Premier League's annual meeting next month on the plan. Football industry sources said that the proposal was a significant one and was aimed at simplifying and accelerating the sanctions process when clubs are charged with breaking profit and sustainability rules. Now, as I say, it might simplify it, and it might even remove some of the legal challenges that the Premier League have had to deal with, but it does take away what is already very, very loose constraints on certain clubs away completely, removes the guardrails, and will allow the likes of Chelsea, Man City, Aston Villa, Newcastle, who have all struggled to stay within the guidelines and out. If you've got the extra cash and you don't mind paying the fine, then you can spend whatever you want in the Premier League. Now, not every club would vote in favour of this, but if it does go through, it would likely create a very large chasm, bigger than one that already exists, between clubs that have very deep pockets and infinite amounts of cash and those who are trying to operate as a profitable footballing model, which is difficult at the best of times right now. But we'll keep an eye on this story. It's crazy one if it's allowed to go through, but the Premier League is a private members club, and 14 votes will get this one through. It'll be interesting to see what way Leeds vote on this as well. Technically, the Leeds owners have relatively deep pockets, so it might suit them, but we'll have to wait and see. Let's move on. So over the weekend, a story broke about the potential future of Wilfried Gnonto at Leeds United. And it just seems like every single summer there is a story around whether Wilfried Gnonto will have a future at Leeds United. He's still only 22 years of age. He's been at the club a very long time, but it does appear that there's slightly more meat on the bones to this story than we normally get once we start to approach a transfer window. The story broke initially from Sky Sports Germany journalist Florian Plettenberg, who's got a very strong track record. In an exclusive, he said that Bundesliga side and Europa League finalist FC Freiburg were pushing hard to sign winger Wilfried Gnonto. He went on to say that talks between Freiburg and Wilfried Gnonto's management agency had already taken place, and he said the Leeds United were open to a potential sale or a loan as long as that loan contained an obligation to buy, not an option, which Leeds have been bitten by several times in the past. However, the deal at that point was described as being quite a difficult deal to do, and the Freiburg have been trying for weeks. After that then, Zinny Boswell from Sky Sports, who again has a very strong track record, he came out with additions to this, and he said the Freiburg were very interested, and he mentioned that they have maintained an interest in Wilfried Gnonto for quite a long period of time, but this came down to two significant areas. The first area is Wilfried Gnonto's interest in the move, and Boswell said there was no indication at this moment in time that Wilfried Gnonto was in favour of a move to Freiburg. Now, he is said to be dissatisfied with the amount of minutes that he's gotten this season, but he hasn't caused any problems behind the scene. He hasn't exactly been pushing for a move either, and that was seen again at the weekend when he came off the bench to play for Leeds United. The second area lines up with Leeds, what Leeds want to get from this situation, and unless Leeds can get a fee that matches their valuation of Wilfried Gnonto, Leeds won't be accepting any kind of a fee, and likely maybe a loan with an obligation kicks in at that point. But at this moment in time, it is very unclear what Leeds United's valuation of Wilfried Gnonto is. They'll want to make a significant profit. He is one of the players that does contain a high PSR or SCR profit ratio at this moment in time, along with people like Pascal Struijk. So it's not clear what Leeds plan on doing. But what is clear from this, from all the reports, is that Leeds United appear to be open to an exit of Wilfried Gnonto heading into this summer. And if the right offer comes in, then Wilfried Gnonto could be another player that moves away from Leeds United this summer. We could see quite a lot of players exit the club over the next couple of months. Let's move on. A slightly more positive story to wrap up today. Bijol has been one of the best signs for Leeds United since last summer, and another dominant display yesterday where he managed to keep another Premier League number 9 to absolutely nothing, and Danny Welbeck can be added to the list of strikers that have not gotten a sniff off of going up against Bijol so far this season. He's taken to life at Leeds with complete ease and looks very much part and parcel of the Leeds United framework. And he's a player that I really enjoy watching in a Leeds United shirt. For me, he just ticks all the boxes and what you want from a Leeds United player, and him and Joe Rodon beside each other, for me, are a fantastic pairing. But he was speaking with LUTV after the game yesterday, and he spoke about the fact that he's enjoyed every minute since he's come to the club and is very grateful for the help and support of his teammates, leaning into that story that we've heard all year about just how tight that Leeds United dressing room is. And he had the following to say: "It was a really amazing season. Couldn't have wished for a better one, honestly. Throughout the season, we just stuck together with our fans, and they brought us some amazing nights, and we just gave everything on the pitch. And I think that connection was visible throughout the season, and it's been amazing. I've enjoyed every second of it, and I can't wait for next season. A little rest in the middle, and then we go again." Bijol also went on then to speak about how the players helped him in the early part of the season when he wasn't playing a huge amount of football, and he hopes that his performances in the second half of the season have repaid them and helped them out. He also went on to say that he believes that this side can take the next step up next year and progress higher up the table. That lines up with Daniel Farke's comments as well about where he wants to see this side go. But he said as long as we can keep the bulk of this squad together. It does look that a lot of players may be playing their final couple of games for Leeds United heading into the summer, the fringe players specifically. It'll be interesting to see what Daniel Farke puts out on the pitch against West Ham United next weekend as the final game of the season, with nothing to play for Leeds really in that situation. So it does look like a lot of the fringe players will leave Leeds this summer. Leeds have had a real problem recouping any kind of decent money for players when they have sold them over the last couple of summer windows. So it is going to be interesting to see how Leeds approach this one and handle it. That extra cash will hopefully then be added to a kitty that allows Leeds United to strengthen the side, add more creative players and more difference makers to the side as well, and just elevate the floor of the squad a little bit heading into next season so they can move further up the table. And as I've been saying for a couple of weeks, given how tight that mid-block has gotten in the Premier League this season, Leeds have a real opportunity this summer to really take a big step forward and capitalise on that while everybody else is trying to either rebuild, regroup, or remodify what their futures look like with their managers at Premier League next season. So yeah, it's a big season of change for a lot of clubs next season. Leeds, if they're smart, can capitalise on this, and we'll see how they get on. That'll be it for me today, folks. We'll have the podcast out tonight to have a look back at the weekend's action, a little bit of a chat around all of these stories, and the development role with new pictures of that's gone out as well, which looks fantastic. So yeah, might be saying goodbye to the West Stand as it looks right now. Outside of that, I will talk to you later on. See you later. Bye.